Okay, Libra. So this is New Moon 6 from Tuesday, May 15th to Wednesday, June 13th, 2018. This is going to be a very, very beneficial lunar cycle for you. And indeed, much of this year is going to be seeing a lot of progress, a lot of being able to grow past stale ideas, to change what wasn't working and to get it all to click in the right place. It doesn't necessarily mean that this year is going to be about completely jettisoning people, places, things, behaviors, jobs, etc. But it does mean that this year, for you specifically, for in a way for everybody, but for you specifically, this year is going to be one, and especially this next lunar cycle, is going to be one. This next is in this current lunar cycle, is going to be one of wonderful progress forward as per ideas, your social network, and being able to put into action these ideas and these plans, everything that you conceive in your head, as well as to gain the social cohesion and closeness that naturally you seek, and especially at this time you seek to be able to take everything to that next level and to keep good information coming to you. So the reason that I'm saying all these things is primarily because Mars went into Aquarius the day after this lunar cycle began on Wednesday, May 16th. And for us air signs, I'm a Gemini, Sun in the house of Aquarius, this Mars and Aquarius energy is wonderful. It is so wonderful. Others might be having a little bit of trouble with it, but ultimately that's the thing. We all have trouble with certain transits, so other people are benefiting from it, and it's just a cycle. So for you, this is a wonderful time of the cycle because this Mars energy is saying, okay, I'm coming into your life, Libra, Mars and Aquarius. I'm going to re-everything, re-energize, reinvigorate, re-innovate. We're going to completely move forward into the future. It's time to let go of the past. It's time to look into the future. For the last 2 months as Mars was in Capricorn, that was a quite challenging transit for you. It was not necessarily a bad transit. Again, that's really subjective of whether it's good or bad. But it was a challenging transit. There was a lot of productivity, a lot of turmoil as well, and that's the thing about square transits. Whenever something is in Capricorn, it's square. Capricorn, this energy right here, it's square. Your Libra, unfortunately, I'm covering it, but it's right here. It's right there. Not very efficient, but basically, the energies from the standpoint of Earth are like this. So they're pulling in two opposite directions, and they clash too. They come to a head. Mars in Capricorn is about work and staying focused and working hard and being able to accomplish goal after goal after goal and taking productivity to a new level and focusing on career to take that to the new level. And that's all wonderful. But Libra energy is a lot more about, well, I want to interact with other people. I want to understand what they're about. I want to see what they're thinking about. I want to communicate what I'm thinking about. I want to build social networks, and I want to be able to talk one-on-one and really share my perspective with other people, and also have them share their perspective with me, and be able to craft something really true and human and interesting between us. So these two different needs aren't necessarily incompatible, and indeed you've been able to be very productive over the last 2 months of being able to put into practical manifestation your relationships, to do work to be able to take your ideas to the next level, and to be very successful at your place of business. I mean, as long as you put it in the work. But that's the thing, is that energy, Mars and Capricorn, is like kind of for Libra, because Libra likes to do a lot of mental work. When it comes to practical, showing up on time, following through, that stuff is very mundane. And even though at first you might have been like, yeah, I have energy for this, after a while it's like, oh my god, holy shit, how much longer of this? And for 2 months, that's when that Mars and Capricorn transit was there. Now, on the plus side, as time goes on, it becomes more familiar, more comfortable, and it's like, okay, clocking in again, but it's okay, I got this, I'm just going to focus, and gotta stay focused, and gotta move forward. So, there's a lot of benefits from that transit, but we're moving into Mars and Aquarius, and Mars is going to be in Aquarius for 5 months this year. So we have Mars in Capricorn again from from August 12th to September 10th. And we'll be experiencing a Mars retrograde during that time. So a lot of the themes that we were building on for the last 2 months are going to come back in August. Anything that wasn't quite finished, you are going to get another chance. And I know that might be, but it can be a nice way to move forward in ways that are really helpful for the rest of your life. So that's the positive news, because Mars and Saturn are in Capricorn. So in general, you're feeling this tug with Saturn and Capricorn saying, find your life purpose, make sure it's real, make sure you can do it for the rest of your life, or at least for several years, and then you can build on top of that with something else. Well, that Mars energy is coming in and saying, yes, I'm adding pressure to the situation, yes, I'm getting you to make sure that you're working hard, but it's all for a good cause. It is for the long term really important to you. Now, the only thing to keep in mind is, if you feel like what you've been working on for the last 2 months and what you're about to expand exponentially into the future with this Mars and Aquarius, beautiful rocket ship just whoosh, launching forward energy, if you feel like the last couple months haven't been very productive in the way that you wanted to be, maybe you did really well at your job, but you hate your job, then it's a good time with this Mars and Aquarius energy to go, okay, I've proven to myself and maybe to others, well, ultimately it doesn't matter if I've proven to others, if I've proven to myself I can do this job. So what am I wasting my time for? It's time to move forward. I need to go do something that really calls to me. And this Mars and Aquarius energy is going to be wonderful because it's going to actively be giving you energy to seek out new information, seek out new opportunities, seek out new people who have new information and new opportunities, and to be able to start it all right away. Indeed, these energies are flowing so much, especially with all the Gemini energy that we're about to get into. We'll get into that in a moment. We have a grand trine going on, and what this means is, as a Libra, this is really special because other air signs aren't experiencing this. This Mars and Aquarius energy is activating us, but it's not quite as magical as it is for a sun sign in Libra. So this is a really cool time, and again, this is a really rare opportunity because Mars usually spends about 6 weeks in a particular sign. It's spending 5 months in that sign. And granted, yeah, we have a Mars retrograde, and there's going to be a time when it's not quite flowing forward, but it's still going to be flowing forward. It's just a little bit more behind the scenes, and it's more like mental work that hasn't been quite applied, but that's months from now. Where we are right now is about, okay, let's apply it, let's move forward, especially since we're fresh off this Mars and Capricorn transit. We're going, yes, let's go forward. Now, a quick note, and then we'll get to the Gemini stuff. Well, sorry, so many ideas. The Grand Trine is basically, we have the Sun going into Gemini Sunday, May 20th, Mercury going into Gemini Tuesday, May 29th, and then we have Mars in Aquarius. So we have this, as a Libra, you have this beautiful Grand Trine going on. The 3 air signs are represented, and actually we have Aquarius, Gemini, and then it comes down into Libra, which again is right behind me here. So this is beautiful. Your Sun, any other Libra energies that you have are augmented, there's going to be a great flow. Basically, you're going to think to yourself, I would really like to do this. And it could be fun, could be work, could be, again, personal life. The Gemini energy is going to say, especially when Mercury goes into Gemini May 29th, but even with the Sun being in Gemini May 20th, there's going to be a wonderful communication of, oh, okay, this is how I do it. This is who I reach out to. I've reached out to other people, especially when Mercury goes into Gemini the May 29th. And then here's the energy that we all have, that we all need. We're all feeling energized, and it comes back to me. I'm leading it. Okay, the communication's out. Okay, the action's getting done to come back to me. This is a really beautiful time. And again, even though Mars will be in Aquarius for about 5 months, this is a beautiful way to start it. Because granted, again, at the very beginning of this lunar cycle, we have a lot of Taurus energy, but that's actually serving us really well. In particular, it's serving you really well. Because as beautiful as all this energy is, this Grand Trine, it's very quick. And it flows so much that it can be a little bit overwhelming. And it's nice, again, it's nice sometimes to have tension like that Mars, Capricorn, Sun, and Libra transit, because it forced you to slow down, especially as air signs. That's really important for us to do, especially as the cardinal air sign Libra, because it's about let's move forward, let's move forward, let's move forward. It can get very impatient, and it can miss out on details. It can miss out on the beauties, the relaxation, the rest, the play needed at being able to just relax. And also, it can also miss out on opportunities by barreling forward to what's new, without following through necessarily. So this that's something that's good to keep in mind with all of this Grand Trine energy, especially with all this Gemini energy right on the horizon, the near horizon, because that energy is very impatient as well. So there's a lot of energy here, but make sure you're using it wisely is basically the end summary of this. Make sure you're using it for what you really need, not just what you want. The shadow part of Libra, and we all have our shadow parts, I'm not picking on you, but the shadow part of Libra is charming without really a cause. Just, let me see what I can do, let me see what I can get, even though I don't really need any of this. That's not the best manifestation of your energies. You need to be focusing on something higher, especially with this Mars in Aquarius. It's going to be saying, okay, what do you want to devote your life to? What do you want to really get done? Like, let's do something magical. Let's do something impactful. Let's make the world a better place. Let's make yourself a better place. Let's make everything a better, that energy really is very powerful. So, and we're kicking it off really nicely with all this Gemini energy. However, if you're flowing in the wrong direction, then you're going to be having to backtrack a lot when Mars goes retrograde later on this year. So we're going to continue to look at this transit for you over the next basically for almost the rest of this year, through the next editions of New Moon News. But it's really wise to keep in mind you have great power, you have a wonderful opportunity, you're able basically to just wish anything into being at this time, to think it into being, but use it wisely, okay? So as we were saying, all this Taurus energy is nice to start it off because Mars in Aquarius, especially the first couple of days of any transit, but especially an air or fire transit, it tends to go wild, and it's just like, this Mars in Aquarius energy is like, let's rebel against everything, let's create everything new. And that's not the best manifestation of it. So it's nice that we have this Taurus going, oh, hold on, pull the reins, we're not there yet. We need to make sure this all makes sense. Hold on, wait a second. Before it all goes into Gemini, and then it's just like, yes. Again, that grand trine is just going to go very quickly, okay? So especially in your interactions with others, make sure that you're coming from a place of heart, making sure that you're coming from a place of, okay, do I need to talk to this person? And is this all for my benefit, for their benefit, etc.? Something that's going to be very helpful is Venus will go into Cancer Saturday, May 19th. So this energy is going to make sure that us air signs stay very much in tune with our emotions. I mean, it's going to make sure everybody does, but especially as air signs and fire signs, stay in tune with our emotions amidst all this exciting change and a little bit of, it's a little bit of chaos. But it does make sense if you're looking for the overall perspective. Like, why is this happening? Oh, to make this happen. Okay, some stuff has to kind of get a little jumbled up before we finally reach, okay, this is the truth. This is the idea, the ideal. We got to it. Okay, cool, we've manifested it. So that Venus in Cancer is going to be really nice to be like, okay, especially for you, again, it can be a little bit challenging sometimes. Some family interactions might be a little bit frustrating. They might ask a little bit more of you than you would really like to have. That Venus in Cancer energy is square that Libra energy. However, it's a wonderful opportunity to show, for you to see, for others to show who your true friends and true family are. And that's really beneficial with all this air energy because you're going to be meeting a lot of people and talking to a lot of people that are really interesting during this time. But this Venus in Cancer energy is the one that's like, yeah, but what does it mean for me in my personal life? Like, is this person really going to be there for the long term? If you're trying to meet new friends, for example, or if you're in a new work environment, like, okay, who should I avoid? Who should I talk to? Like, I'm Libra. I'm friendly with everybody. And I want to know everybody. I want everybody to know me in a sense. I want to be able to communicate and connect with everybody. However, who do I need to connect with the most? That Venus in Cancer energy is going to be really good, especially with all that grand trine energy going on, because it'll be like, okay, this is the person that I really care about because they like this and I like this, and I can tell that I'm going to get a lot of conversations, and I love just like laughing with them and just enjoying my time with them. And of course, also returning to family, that can be really helpful. So even though family might be a little bit of a burden this time, especially opposite with Saturn and Capricorn, this is more later on in the transit. So later on in this lunar cycle of probably like mid-June, like June 7th to June 13th, the end of this cycle, they can be a little frustrating, but just remain patient and retain your poise and seek to make the most of it. If you really care about your family, this is a wonderful time to show them you really do care about them, and it's not just lip service. Like, you're there, you love them, and your love is what you're doing for them too, and how you're connecting them with your world. And a lot of what you can do during this time is just communication, just reaching out to them. So that's going to be really important. That's basically it. The last thing I would say, and we're going to cover this in future lunar cycles because this is an 8-year transit we're looking at right here, but Uranus just went into Taurus. We took a look at that with the last lunar cycle of Uranus going into Aries. Uranus will go back into Aries in the last couple months of this year. Well, again, we'll get into that in the future. But for you, this is really interesting because Uranus in Aries was opposite your Sun in Libra. So this is a wonderful time to move forward. Now, this is very subtle shift, but the entire world isn't going to be challenging you as much. When Uranus is opposite our Sun, it's exciting in a lot of ways because it's helping us to grow, and we've seen this with the political discord and social discord and economic discord and whatnot. We've seen a lot of Libras having to rise up and say, this is what I believe, this is who I stand for those who can't stand for themselves, or shadow Libra of, I don't know what I stand for, I'm just going for the highest bidder. So regardless, this has been an interesting time these last 8 years because we've learned about ourselves. All of us have, but especially Libras have learned about themselves tremendously, especially in learning about other people, which is a very quintessential Libra thing. But I mean learning about our particular role, our particular genius, our particular ability to affect change on this planet. And for Libra, that's all about social justice. It's all about making sure that people are taken care of that can't take care of themselves, not necessarily in a Cancer way, but like by laws and by social awareness and by communication about these needs and is going to be done to serve these needs. And of course, it's about beauty and the arts. What can we make to really challenge people's perceptions and understandings and be able to take things to the next level? Donald Glover comes to mind, who's a Libra, who just, even though this transit is wrapping up with Uranus and Taurus, it's right on the cusp, and that's his latest music video, This Is America, is a pretty good example of this feeling, this need to speak out. And Libras have a very powerful voice. So it's